everyone, Linda here, the scrapbooking photographer. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for coming back if you've been before. If you're new, then welcome. Today I'm doing two videos in one. One is for Pour Your Way Into Our Hearts, which is about our pets. And the other one that I'm fitting in at the same time is a coast-to-coast collaboration where we have 4 tabs that we use as prompts. So the photos I'm using are these ones of myself with Gracie, our puppy, when she was just a little girl. It was winter, so that satisfies the seasons tab. I do give her a kiss, so I'm going to use that as an acronym with the Sealed with a Kiss acronym. The colours, the blue sky is actually our winter sky. It was quite a nice day, but it was towards the end of winter, I guess. So I'm going to use some blues, and as it happened, I had quite a few different blues on my desk left over from a previous layout that I had done. So I'll start with those, and as for tools, I will do distressing around the edges, I think. So I think that gets the coast to coast covered. And the layout that I'm going to use is one that's been done by our very own Jennifer from Kaezmum. So yeah, I'll start with a piece of white daisy and we'll see how we go. You will have seen that on the sketch that Jennifer has done, there's some splattering in the top right hand corner and in the bottom left. So I'm going to do that with 2 shimmer pens, firstly using the sapphire, and then I'll add to that with the gold one. So these have a slightly metallic look to them, so a bit of a shine. And for this example, I'm just tapping the edge to get drips of it onto the page. So that's why I'm doing it inside my splatter box. I've put that to one side to dry. It won't take too long, but while it's drying off, I can start working on these 4 strips, 2 for the top and 2 for the bottom. So I make each colour the same width. So with these periwinkle, I had a couple that were already cut to 1/2 inch wide, so I've just made 3 more the same colour. With the sapphire, I'll make it a little bit wider so that it can form the base, and then I'll add in a couple of different accents, 2 with the blue patterns on them and a little bit of the shortbread too, just to provide an accent, and also because it kind of matches the colour of Gracie. I do start to trim the edges off, but because I want them to be a little bit staggered on the edge that comes into the page to match the sketch, in the end I decide that it's better to stick them together, making the staggered work the way I want, and then trim the straight edge to fit into the page. And as I go on cutting these pieces of cardstock and paper, I realise that this is a tool really, using the trimmer. So that satisfies the tool aspect of the coast to coast tab, but I will also do some distressing around the outside just to add a little bit of texture to it as well. I'll be interested to see what tools other people use in the coast to coast collaboration, and there will be a link to the playlist in the description below so that you can check out everybody else's videos and see what they come up with. There'll also be a list of other participants in the Pour Your Way Into Our Hearts YouTube hop. This is the first time I've taken part in that hop. I'm not quite sure what's taken me so long to join in with all these beautiful animal videos, but have a look at what everybody else is doing on that one as well, and I'll link obviously to those other videos in the description. So I'll just put one of these strips together on camera, and then I'll put the others together without you needing to suffer through that. So as I mentioned, I was going to use the sapphire as a base, so I've got that down first, and then just arranging the figured ones with the shortbread in between, and then finding somewhere for the periwinkle. I think technically the sketch just has 4 pieces of paper, but I quite liked all 5 and I didn't know which one to take out, so that's the way I'm doing it. So I'll stick those together in that order, and I'll add a little bit of distressing to the shortbread piece. Not to every piece, I think that would be a bit too much, but I will add some to the shortbread piece just to add a little bit of texture. So to do that, I just grab my Tim Holtz distress tool and go around 3 of the edges. So I won't distress the side that's going to go on the edge of the page, but the other 3 I will. If you don't have a distress tool, I only got mine about a few months ago, but before that I just used the inside of my scissor blade, which worked fine and had the same effect, but it does affect the efficiency of your scissors, of course, so I find it a lot handier to have the distress tool. So there we are, I've just cut off the edge that was all overflowing, and I think it will look a little bit better, a little bit more even with some more distressing. So I initially do the top part of it before I measure it against a piece of white daisy. And I quite like the length of it. I think we've got it the right size, but I do decide to add some more distressing to the bottom, and that just evens things up a bit and will add some nice texture to the page. So I'll leave you now and come back. Here we are with our 4 all complete, and I'm just trimming off the sides of the other 3, and I can put them to one side while I work on the photos. I think the photos are a little bit wide for the way they're going to be mounted, and there is room to take a little bit off each side and perhaps a little bit off the top. So I'll trim them down. I think I end up with ½ an inch off the sides and off the top, taking care of course not to chop off any stray little bits of tail or anything else important. These photos were actually taken by a friend of mine who came to visit with her camera when Gracie was just a little girl. You can see she's probably maybe 3 months. We may have had her a few weeks by the time Julie came to take these photos. So there is quite a fence down below keeping her in check, but holding her up against the sky gave us a nice background to get rid of that fence. So now I'm going to mount those. Now on the sketch you'll see that there are 3 different colours behind, so I'm bringing in some of the shortbread to match Gracie's colour, as well as one of the figured blue ones. This one with the flowers on it seemed appropriate, and then I'll back everything with the sapphire. The sketch also has them mounted at a bit of an angle, so I play around with them for a little while by mounting the one that's going in the middle, mounting that straight so that it gives me a starting point. And then I can measure the sapphire, leaving enough room for the title to go underneath, and I can trim that so I know what I'm playing with. So I take some off the bottom and 1 inch off either side. Now I could take 2 inches off one side, but I somehow ended up doing 1 inch off each side. And then I can put the shortbread on an angle, and I do have to make sure that it's going to end up still fitting on the 12 by 12 width, so I don't want to overlap too much. And then putting the flowery blue one on at a bit of an angle, and then the photo goes on top pretty much in line with the shortbread, so we just get a hint of that flowery blue colour. Ideally I'd like that photo on the left to have me facing the other way, but I'm facing the same way in all of them, so at least the one in the middle I'm looking towards the front, and in the right looking into the picture. So just to get rid of some of the white core that's showing through on the sapphire, I'm just going around quickly with my foam dome and the sapphire ink, and that will just finish that piece off nicely before I put it onto the page. So there's our splattered page, all dry now, and this is when I realised that although I've made 4 strips the same, I'm only going to be able to fit 2 on the page, 1 at the top and 1 at the bottom, but that's okay because I'll use the other 2 in the companion page. So now I need to do the title, which is Sealed with a Kiss, is S.W.A.K, and I'm using the new tabs that have come out with from Close to My Heart. Now I do want this one to be splattered, so I pop it in my splatter box and do a little bit of gold on it. I don't think I'll bother with the blue because it's going against the blue background. So I'll just do the gold with that and leave that to dry a little bit. And while it's drying, I'll cut out a couple of snowflakes to go with that winter theme that we're working with. And I can stick those on 3 different spots. And I'll put a little silver glitter gem in the middle of each just to help with that snowy shine. Then I find in my embellishment box a heart that I was sent as part of some embellishments as a welcoming prize really for being a newcomer to the Soul Scrappers Challenges. I'll pop a link to them in the description below because it was a nice surprise to get these embellishments in the post. So I end up shifting one of the snowflakes and putting the heart up in that right hand corner, and I think it fits pretty well with the cool winter theme and the love heart of course for my puppy. So the little title tab is now dry, so using sapphire ink I stamp the S.W.A.K on it, and then before I stick it down I've just grabbed some embroidery thread. Now it's a leftover piece, so it's only 4 strands rather than the 6, but that works quite well, so I can thread it through both ends and then stick it down just by putting some glue on the back. Then that will hold the thread in place behind the sign on the paper. And then I'll split the threads on either side so that there's 2 lots of 2, and then I'll just tie a bow at each side. And the addition of cotton to the page just adds yet another little piece of texture. So I'm really happy with the way this page has turned out. It's just kind of fallen together. Fantastic sketch from Jennifer, thank you so much for that. And I think we've satisfied all the criteria for the coast to coast collaboration, and also great to be part of the Pour Your Way Into Our Hearts YouTube hop, which I hope to take part on in every month this year. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and thank you if you have. Happy crafting, everyone.